Okay, so how's it going, guys? I am your host, Rio Murata. In my last video, I stated that the Pro 400H for the medium format will be discontinued next year. Turns out, a random ass person bought all the stock from Fujifilm's factory line, production factory line, and Fujifilm themselves declared that the end of the production for both the medium format and their 35mm will end before March. You lie, Fuji. You lie. You're such a dirty liar. So ever since Fuji declared the end of their Fuji era of their professional lineup of their color negative film, they still have their positive films, Volvia and Provia. They still have it in stock. Only their color negative, their professional lineup of the Pro 400H, the stock just dried up as if it was like we were in Australia or somewhere, And I can no longer purchase that film, and I was expecting a couple of months down the road for that to happen, but it just came abruptly, and I was like, really, seriously, kinda. So I was pissed so much that I wanted to leave medium format because I had no film to shoot with as of now, and I'm still taking my time to recover from that loss, and have extra time to sort of soak up that into my skin, So I remember buying this 35mm film camera. This was made by Kodak, or shall I say, this is the only camera that Kodak makes at the current moment in terms of film camera. This camera is called Kodak M35. It is a point and shoot cheap camera which go around for 3,800 yen in Japan. So that's roughly $35 in US dollars. This might be something weird, but in Japan, as of 2021, there's another camera that Kodak sells, which is called the M38. And the major difference between the M38 and the M35 is that the M38 has 70% more flash output, and that's basically it. And it's a little bit heavier. So if you're into flash photography, I mean, that might be the better option, but in most cases, from what I do, flash in most cases ruins the photo. So the one I got is a limited edition version, sold only in Japan, and it was a hefty price. It was $50, and I thought I was getting ripped off. But as sort of an investing purpose, you never know, because this in particular, there was only 2,000 copies available, and I was able to luckily find this one, and because I like neutral gray, I just like green and gray color, I just went ahead and purchased it to see what Kodak's been up to, So how to use this is honestly one of the most simple cameras I have used in my life. You just first insert the battery, which uses a AAA battery, if I'm right, the thinner, smaller one, and which basically operates the flash. You can shoot without the battery. Just plop open the side by pulling down the lever, and you just insert your film, and it's basically the same operation as using a point and shoot. That's a manual point and shoot, actually. So you just stick in your film, you pull the film to the second hole of the ridges and make it lock in there, and you just shoot and rewind until you get to the number 1, and then once you get there, then you're ready to shoot. Okay, so keep in mind that this is roughly a 31mm in terms of focal length on the 35mm, so it's not too wide, not too telephoto, but it's more like a casual shooter, shooting everyday life or documenting everyday life. So it was okay. So for films, I shot with a Kodak Gold on the first round and Colorplus 200 for round 2. And these two are probably the first on the list when trying out new films or trying film stocks for the first time, because they're not too expensive, not too cheap, but they yield fairly good results. And if you're into those warmer tones like Kodak Gold, probably everyone has ever shot with that film, and it's a great film stock to start out with. Colorplus 200, on the other hand, came out recently. It's not too warm but not too cold, but it's a decent film to shoot with, and I actually like the Colorplus 200 than the Kodak Gold, just my opinion. And because I did not have that much time to like scan them within home, I actually went to a consumer targeted lab called Kodak Camera. They are sort of like a chain store like McDonald's. You can find them almost everywhere. If you drop in your like film, like 35mm film, they'll get it processed within 1 to 2 hours. So great place. And you can also, and in my case, I got it like scanned into JPEG format and just received a disk. So the photos you're gonna see are basically like scanned by the local like lab around my area. So as for the location, I went to a place called Ajinomoto Stadium. This is another like unknown location among foreigners because it's more where a lot of local people go. So if you guys know, like every state, every prefecture has their own like sports group, like New York Yankees, Boston Red Sox, Unfortunately, it's not like it's not baseball, but in Tokyo, there's a soccer team called FC Tokyo. They are headquartered around Chofu area, which is like the closest station is Ajinomoto Stadium. This is like an area that's relatively close to my place. It's like a 30 to 40-minute walk away, and I really never been there, so I just wanted to like bring this 35 made in Kodak film camera to see how it performs, And instead of like riding the train, I thought like, okay, why not walk there and see if I can like grab like unusual shots along the way, and in addition to that, maybe shoot the surrounding area of the stadium. So yeah, that's what I really wanted to do. So I think I talked the most of all the videos I've made in my past, but yeah. So here we go, Ajinomoto Stadium in Chofu, Tokyo. Let's go. Kodak M35, Kodak Gold, and Kodak Colorplus. Here we go. Okay, so there are so many things to talk about this camera. This is unfortunately going to be somewhat more like a brief review of this camera, but when you look at the price of $38, $38, in my mind it seems really expensive because there's a lot of great used point and shoots out there within that range, within 30 to $40 range, that have like better optics, better durability, and if that's the right word. And this camera itself feels like really flimsy, especially the back plate. I mean, I could probably break it with just one hand, you know. But on the other hand, it weighs only 120 grams, so it's probably the lightest like camera that you can get for the price. But you always have to like think who this like camera is like meant for, basically, because probably Kodak is aiming this camera for people who often shoot with a Kodak Lifesaver, Fuji, Utsurun this. You guys probably have ever shot with that, you know? So people who like shoot with that probably want some kind of new like motivation to shoot more photos. So I guess that's where this camera comes into play, because the great thing about having a camera with interchangeable, like not lens, but interchangeable like film stock, is that you can basically change the feeling of your photos by just changing the film stock. And there's like so many options available, like the Fuji. I think they still sell the C200 Xperia, Kodak Gold, Kodak Colorplus. There's like Ultramax, and if you have extra money, Portra 160, Portra 400, Portra 800. There's like so many options available, and by just like changing the film stock, you can get like better results, or you can just change the atmosphere of your photos. So that's like, I guess that's like something that Kodak really wanted to do, like get people into film photography, and as like that first like step, they made this camera. So overall, it was like a great experience for me to shoot with this camera. If you're like thinking of stepping up from those like Kodak Funsaver, it's in this. I mean, it might be a great alternative to those, but when you look at the long term, you know, duration of time, it might be wiser to sort of like invest in a point and shoot that have like I said, like better optics, better ruggedness, durability, you know, and that might be in the long term a better purchasing like decision. So yeah, that's basically it. If you have like any questions regarding this camera, or have any like questions, I'm happy to reply. Please leave it in the comments below, not in the description. In my previous video I said description, which messed up. So yeah, we'll see you next time. Peace.